The first significant severe weather event of 2026 is now underway. The Storm Prediction Center has placed 7 million people inside an enhanced risk zone for Friday, March 6th, a designation that forecasters do not issue lightly. This is not a routine spring storm. Meteorologists tracking the setup are using the words tornado outbreak, and the atmosphere is providing every ingredient needed to make that a reality. The storm sequence stretches across nearly 48 hours, running from Thursday afternoon through Saturday and covering a corridor from Dallas all the way to the Atlantic coast. Understanding which part of that window affects your area, and when, is what matters most right now. Thursday's threat is already active. The primary danger zone runs from the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles straight up into southern Kansas. Warm, moisture-laden air from the Gulf of Mexico, carrying dew points near 65 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit, is colliding with bone-dry desert air along a razor-sharp dry line. When those two air masses meet, supercell thunderstorms can develop explosively. Cities in the crosshairs on Thursday afternoon and evening include Amarillo, Wichita Falls, Abilene, Oklahoma City, Lawton, Dodge City, and Wichita. Storms are expected to fire in the late afternoon between 5 and 6 p.m. Central as daytime heating sharpens the dry line and gives developing cells the energy they need to go severe. The primary hazard on Thursday is large hail. Golf ball to hen egg size is possible in isolated spots, with some stones capable of reaching 2 inches or larger in diameter. Damaging wind gusts between 60 and 70 miles per hour are the secondary concern. Tornadoes are a conditional but real third threat, particularly east of Amarillo, where the atmosphere is most unstable. Anyone in western Oklahoma or the Texas Panhandle with an unprotected vehicle should move it to a covered structure now. One variable to watch Thursday is lingering low cloud cover. If it persists through the morning, it could cap the atmosphere and delay the storm initiation window. But if those clouds break by early afternoon, as forecast models currently suggest, the door for explosive supercell development opens quickly and stays open through the evening hours. As Thursday's storms track east overnight, the threat shifts from hail and tornadoes to straight-line damaging winds along the I-35 corridor. Dallas-Fort Worth is not out of the picture for Thursday, with hail and gusty winds possible into the evening. How those overnight storms behave will also determine how much instability is available for Friday's main event. Friday, March 6th, carries the most serious risk of the entire sequence. The highest concern is centered over parts of Kansas and Oklahoma, with Kansas City, Tulsa, and Wichita directly in the center of the enhanced risk bullseye. The conditional intensity flags for Friday include hail over 2 inches in diameter, wind gusts of 70 to 80 miles per hour, and EF2 or stronger tornadoes, all on the table for the same geography on the same afternoon. The Friday tornado window opens in the mid to late afternoon as the dry line pushes east and discrete supercells fire across central Kansas, eastern Oklahoma, and northwestern Missouri. A well-organized supercell in that environment carries the potential for long-track tornadoes. Forecasters are not ruling out multiple significant tornadoes during that afternoon window before the squall line even forms. The picture changes after dark. Supercells are expected to consolidate into a squall line around 9 p.m. Friday near Kansas City. Once that squall line establishes, widespread straight-line wind gusts become the dominant hazard. But, the line will not be clean. Rogue supercells can develop out ahead of the main line, and those are the storms capable of producing tornadoes at 2 a.m., when most people assume the worst has already passed. The broad slight risk stretches from Dallas all the way to Chicago, meaning this storm will make itself known across a very large portion of the country before Friday night is over. The squall line is forecast to reach Kansas City around 9 p.m. Friday, Chicago around 4 a.m. Saturday, and it will still be producing severe weather across Pennsylvania as late as 3 to 4 p.m. Saturday afternoon. For Missouri, the overnight squall line is the primary concern. Bartlesville, Jefferson City, Quincy, Joplin, Springfield, and Davenport all fall in the overnight threat corridor. A fast-moving squall line with embedded tornadoes arriving in the dark is, honestly, among the most dangerous scenarios in severe weather. The difference between a safe outcome and a catastrophic one in those conditions often comes down to whether your weather alerts are turned on before you go to sleep. The flooding threat is the quieter story running beneath all of the severe weather headlines. A cold front is pushing southeast into the Arkansas, Louisiana, and Texas regions, with widespread totals of 4 to 10 inches of rain possible over 7 days across a corridor from northeast Texas through southeast Oklahoma, western Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, and the Ohio River Valley. The ground in many of these areas has been running dry, and creeks and streams just can't absorb that volume of water when it arrives all at once. Record warmth is amplifying the storm threat significantly. Nashville is forecast to reach 84 degrees Fahrenheit on Friday before the cold front crashes through. Indianapolis could touch 75 degrees. Atlanta is expected to reach 82 degrees. The storm system will move into the mid-Mississippi Valley on Thursday, and, the larger the temperature contrast across the cold front, the more energy is available for the storms that develop along it. The warming on Friday is not just a weather curiosity. It is an active ingredient in the tornado threat. The abnormal heat is loading the atmosphere with additional energy by the hour. After Friday's squall line sweeps through, the storm sequence does not end at the Ohio River. Straight-line winds and flash flooding are expected to pose a continuing threat in many areas on Saturday, with a robust squall line still active through Louisiana, Mississippi, eastern Kentucky, Middle Tennessee, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. The Gulf Coast states will encounter the tail end of the system as a cold front pushes south through Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi with another wave of thunderstorms on Saturday. Looking beyond this weekend, forecasters warn there is an increased likelihood of severe thunderstorms packing damaging wind gusts and heavy downpours throughout the 2026 season, with flash flooding a major concern. The Storm Prediction Center has already issued a Day 7 slight risk for Tuesday, March 10th, covering Dallas, Fort Worth, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Wichita, Springfield, Joplin, Fort Smith, and Little Rock. Day 7 outlooks historically grow more significant as the event approaches, not less. There is also a longer-range signal worth monitoring. The polar vortex is currently splitting, driven by a sudden stratospheric warming event. It typically takes 7 to 10 days for that cold air to descend from the stratosphere to the surface. The mid-March outlook shows potential wind chills of 30 below zero in the Dakotas around March 14th to 16th, with a below-average temperature pattern that could persist through the rest of the month and into April. For anyone in the enhanced risk zone on Friday, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Kansas City, Wichita, and Jefferson City, the practical steps are straightforward. Confirm your shelter plan now. Set county-level weather alerts to their loudest setting. Move vehicles to a covered structure if possible. Charge a NOAA weather radio, and keep a backup battery for your phone. None of these actions take more than an hour, and every one of them matters if Friday delivers on what the enhanced risk is warning about. Severe weather season is one of the few hazards where preparation can pay off immediately. Identify the safest place to shelter at home, at work, and at school. Review how you will receive warnings, especially overnight. This storm does not stop because the sun goes down, and the overnight hours carry some of the highest fatality risk of the entire